Hey, David Bradley here. Welcome. This is the Cardone Solutions podcast. I am your host. My name is David Bradley. If you are listening to this on any audio platform of your choosing, please make sure that you have subscribed, that you are following this. Okay. If you're seeing this live on the YouTube or on the Facebook, please feel free to subscribe to this page, whether that's the Cardone Solutions YouTube page, whether that's the 10X Goals and Accountability Facebook page. Follow along. We are posting juicy nuggets. Today's episode, this is good. It's about 25 minutes. I'm sitting down with my good buddy, Anthony the Hitman Camacho. And in this interview, we're going to talk to Anthony about, number one, how and why he is called the Hitman. Then we're also going to take a look at how he got started as a performance coach, sales trainer, and a motivational speaker, and more importantly, why he is not competition to Cardone Training Technologies and Grant Cardone. That's important. Also, he's going to throw some advice out for anybody that is considering getting into motivational speaking, performance coaching. He's got two juicy nuggets and tips for you. Then we start talking about how he found Grant Cardone, what Grant Cardone has done for him in helping his business. Okay, and then some of the things that he took from the 10X rule that he is leveraging into his life to grow himself personal as well as his business. This is a great episode. It's short enough to where you can listen to it in your commute on the way in or on the way home. And he's got some great tips on how he has applied massive action into his life to take himself beyond self-doubt and beyond just getting by. So please enjoy my time with Anthony, the Hitman Camacho. Okay, and we are live. So welcome to the Cardone Solutions podcast. My name is David Bradley. I am your host. We are here today with my good friend, Dr. Anthony, the Hitman Camacho. So the first thing I want to so if you don't know who Anthony is, he is a performance coach. He's a motivational speaker. But the first thing I just want to address the big fat elephant in the room, because he is a gangster. So the term, the Hitman, how did you get that handle? What did you do to earn that? Or can you tell me and then you have to kill me?
No, I actually got that I did grow up in a really rough neighborhood, but it wasn't a gang name or anything that I got. I actually got that in the sales world because of my ability to do in-person cold calling, being able to in-person cold call Fortune 100 companies and do it fearlessly. So I got the nickname the Hitman because Hitman don't make appointments.
Right. What do you think was that, the ability to do that fearlessly? I mean, a lot of folks, I know we're going to talk about Grant's book, The 10X Rule, on today, but you sort of sidelined me right there, because a lot of folks have legit, straight up fear about making a cold call. Do you feel like that's something that the ability to do that was something you were born with, or did that take some time to develop, the fearless part?
I think the fearless part is when you grow up in a rough neighborhood and literally when you're walking down the street, it could be a matter of life or death or getting beat up. You know that when you're walking into a business situation, you're not going to get, beat up or, jumped or anything like that. It's basically, You have nothing to fear,
Right. Getting cussed at or having somebody tell you to go do an unnatural act on your mom is nothing, right? Compared to, right, to what you probably grew up with. So that's fascinating. Which really, actually, that's great because it sort of bleeds into my next question.
Sure.
And which is how did you get started as a performance coach doing motivational speaking? Was that something that was always on your radar? Did you trip into that? How do you go from being in sales and being a top producer to, hey, how can I help a bunch of other people?
Well, I love sales. My heart goes out to the salesmen. I run a sales team, and, being a leader, you care for the people that you're leading. And so when I worked for a consulting company for 10 years and I was working with my guys, I wanted them to make as much money as possible. Obviously in a moral way, but the more money they make, the less stress they have, the better they are when they get home. Their family benefits, they benefit, the company benefits, the customers benefit. So basically I wanted to compound and expand that and make a greater reach. So just taking it from Southern California, where I've been able to take it to across the country into multiple countries internationally.
Where have you gone internationally?
I have been in Dubai. I did a consulting contract in Dubai, which was pretty cool. Went to the Burj Khalifa, tallest building in the world. I did a 2-year contract in Australia, literally all over the country, beautiful country, and all across the United States. So it's been so much fun being able to serve the multitude of salespeople, because even though salespeople sometimes get a bad rap, I love sales. I am the sales guy. I am the hitman, and I love salespeople, you know. And if I could just help them get that, that little, click.
Yep. I think one of the reasons you and I are kindred spirits is that we both came out of a sales environment and then got into serving other salespeople. And one of the easiest things for me to do was to come work with Grant, because I from where I was at, I'm in this industry, I'm doing well. I'm not worried about food or rent or bills. Like, everything's getting handled, and I'm still in a place of service. I'm still working with folks and helping other people. But when you get into a vehicle like Cardone Training Technologies, your reach and your ability to help more and more and more people just blows up. And like you, it becomes an international thing versus just this community that you're in and that you're serving. And so I love the fact that you're thinking bigger than just what can you do for one team, but hey, how many teams can I help and how many teams can I serve? And the fact that we're both of that mindset, a lot of people, I was talking to a friend of mine about this interview actually. He goes, well, isn't that kind of like competition? I'm like, no. Like,
there's enough to go around, man.
Right. Yeah. And I've been on calls with people in your neck of the woods down in Orange County, and they say, hey, we're also thinking about him, and what would you suggest? I'm like, do both, man.
Exactly. I mean,
there's so eat all the pie you want. We'll make more. It doesn't, like, there's no, like, just
that type of mentality is, that's like a mentality of, what's the word, of lack, that's not an abundant mentality,
Right.
There's a go around, and people have more than one sales book in their shelf.
Totally. Right. Exactly. So for somebody out there that is either maybe thinking about going to work in getting into the personal development field, what kind of advice would you give, or what would you say to somebody just starting out?
I would say that your personal development starts with yourself first. The greatest investment you can ever make in your life is in investing in yourself.
Yeah.
In yourself, mentally, spiritually, financially, investing in yourself. I can't stress that enough. Go out there, buy books, buy seminars, buy Grant Cardone's multitude of how-to-dos and being successful in business. You can't go wrong with that. I myself have spent conservatively close to about $100,000 in personal and professional development, from speaker training to Dale Carnegie. I was a Dale Carnegie coach, to IPEC, Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. So I can't stress enough to invest in your personal development. And then once you've done all that and you have an idea or a message you want to take to market, then I would recommend looking at people that have the success that you want, such as Grant Cardone.
Yeah, which is a perfect little transition. How did you find Grant?
It was actually a compliment. I've been complimented many times when I've had people, to me it's a compliment. I've had people say, man, you kind of remind me of Grant. And this was about 6 years ago. I was calling on some dealerships, and this finance manager, she said, have you ever heard of Grant Cardone? I'm like, who's Grant Cardone? I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
He goes, you kind of have his aura. You kind of have like his energy. And I'm like, who is he? Like, I goes, is he a good guy? I go, hopefully that's a compliment,
Right.
And she gave me her audiobook. It was on a CD. So it was a while back on a CD. And so as soon as I left the dealership, I jumped into my car and I played it. And as soon as I started listening to it, I was like, oh my God, like this guy, he gets it. This guy gets it, right? And I'm like, I couldn't stop listening to it. I mean, I had to just listen. I think it took me just 2 days because I was so pumped up listening to his message. I was like, wow, I have to meet this guy. This guy gets it.
Now, was that the 10X rule?
That was the 10X rule. Yeah, that was the book that got me hooked on all of his videos, all of his strategies, all of his other books. And I was like, this guy's amazing. Or I had to meet him in person.
When was that?
About 6 years ago.
Okay. So this is a great question, is that typically if somebody, and you know this because you speak publicly. So if somebody goes into a live event, and this really makes it easier for us to sell our online training. If somebody goes to a live event and they're present, they participate, they listen, like typically within 2 weeks, if it's not repeated and reinforced, they're really only going to retain about 3% of what they got. And when you read a book, the retention rate is anywhere from 2 to 5. So, that's why we always recommend, hey, don't, treat a book or one of our video courses or whatever like a repetition at the gym. Like you got to do it over and over and over and over and over. So, what has been like some core key takeaways for you from the 10X rule that you've kept with you the whole time?
One of the things, well, there's some great points, but what I really like, well, there's multiple things I like from the 10X rule book, but one of the things I really do like is taking massive action, right? With going beyond self-doubt, going beyond worry, going beyond mediocrity, not being satisfied with the minimum. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about as a man, as a human being, not being satisfied with the minimum work performance, not being satisfied with the minimum of sales calls, not being satisfied with just, I'm just kind of getting by, because that's not living, man. That's like when life gets boring. And when I heard his audio book and hear the excitement in his voice and his tonality and the message, I was just like, wow, this guy, he gets it. He understands it. You have to go out there and take some massive action, So that was one of the key takeaways.
So on a personal note, how has taking massive action, because we all have it, I've got self-doubt, like who doesn't, right? And how has, even Grant will admit that he's had it. So it's like, how is taking massive action, like just basically eliminated or pushed self-doubt onto the sideline so it's not stopping you versus being that thing that holds you back?
Well, there's one of the other quotes that I like from Grant's many multitude of quotes is, "Don't be a little bitch." Right? It's take responsibility. Take responsibility for your life, for your income, for your failures, for your circumstance. Don't be a little bitch. Don't be a victim. And
that's really what that means,
right? I love that.
Keep it handy.
I actually pass some of those out to some of my clients and even some of my friends, because it's like, you can't live your life being a victim. And I think that was the other huge takeaway from the 10X rule and from Grant. It's like, don't be a little bitch. Don't be a victim. Take responsibility for your life. Step away from blaming the past. Take step away from blaming a person, a place, a thing. I can't sell today because my boss doesn't like me, or no one's buying today, or the economy sucks. Like
it's a holiday, right?
Yeah.
We're doing this on MLK Day.
It's raining. You can't be successful having that little bitch mentality. So don't be a little bitch.
I think it's always like, you always want to, a lot of folks have misunderstood that phrasing. They think they've taken it in a completely different direction than what it is. And for us, it's about a whiner, it's about a complainer. Like there's multiple definitions in the dictionary in regards to that. And I don't find it misogynistic in any way, shape, or form. It's like exactly what you said, which is, hey, don't be a victim. you know? And,
Yeah.
and I talk to people about this all the time. It's like, we're all going to be victims at one point, right? Shit's going to hit the fan. Shit's going to go bad, right? At some point, something's going to happen.
Yeah. So what are you going to do about it?
Right. So you can either, the choice is like, if you're going to, we're all like, being a victim is a moment in time. Staying a victim is a choice.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really, really, really important. And then the importance of going beyond just getting by. I love what you said about that. Like, you can't just be dependent on just enough, because when it does go wrong, and when bad things happen to good people, and they do, what do you want to be prepared for?
Yeah, and that's what it's. I believe that's the other message behind it, is being prepared. Because life will throw you some pretty bad situations, but you have to be prepared. You have to do that little bit extra, or that taking that massive action. Sometimes a massive action, depending on whatever state you are in life, might be just a little bit more. Maybe you just needed that little bit more to close that deal. Maybe you just need a little bit more to create that income cushion. Taking that massive action might just be a little bit more, but the point is to do more than what you're doing.
Right.
And in a healthy way, and that's the other thing. I don't believe that Grant's saying, take massive action to where you're going to have regrets on your deathbed. I think he's saying take massive action so that you have no regrets on your deathbed. I took massive action to provide for my family. I took massive action to have a day of work that I can feel proud of, that I just, get by doing a half-assed job.
Right. Like, even if you look at the evolution of Grant having that jet,
Yeah.
For how many years did he have, 250 speaking engagements a year, guys on the road, right? Flying commercial all over the country, right? Never home. When he finally gets settled, wife, they make babies, they have 2 kids. Like, you can't have that schedule and be a husband. Something has to shift, right? And so we make some changes, but at the same time, number one problem for any business is obscurity. They don't know you. They can't do business with you. So if Grant wants to go out and meet people, then he's got to bring them along. Yep. He's not going to, right? So he talks about 10Xing everything. So it's like, it's not just, well, now you have to wait over here. No, I'm going to work even harder. I'm going to buy me a plane so I can take the family everywhere. So it's like, it's about thinking bigger.
Yeah.
Than what's already there and what you're already capable of, and about working towards a higher level of potential. So what was one other thing that really resonated with you from the book?
I stay away from haters and naysayers, ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you're getting pretty popular. Do you have haters?
Yeah, of course. Haters, naysayers from the very beginning, man. From the very beginning, I had people laugh at me and say, oh, you're going to go be a motivational speaker, oh, Mr. Tony Robbins. I had somebody tell me, you know what, Anthony, no one's going to show up to your workshops. We'll put a bunch of cardboard dummies in the room for you. So that was before I even started,
Yeah.
And let's just come to present date. That was 6 years ago. Present date, I have 6 published books. 2 of them are international best-selling books. I have done over 700 paid workshops. I've spoken all over the world. So if I would have listened to that type of nonsense,
right,
I wouldn't be where I'm at today. But I didn't do it to prove a point. Oh, I'm going to show you. I did it because I wanted to do it, and I did it because I wanted to help people, right. And I did it from a good place in my heart. I laughed when they were like, oh, we're gonna put cardboard dummies at your. I don't care. I mean, I laugh, but that's the other thing in sales, and that's the other thing in sales. You have to have some thick skin, and you can't be a little bitch.
Right. Did you send anybody like a cardboard cutout of you?
I know that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I do have some pop-up point of sale material with my face on it.
Everyone that told you that should get one. Tell them they can use it in the carpool lane.
Yeah, right.
Put this in the front seat next to you. I'm riding shotgun with you. Get you in the carpool lane.
So that was the other thing I really like about the Grant's message is to stay away from the naysayers and the haters. People have to remember that misery loves company.
Yep.
That if they
it's more about them than you all day long.
Yeah, they don't have the guts to do it. They can't take a chance. They're victim to their circumstance. So it's like, how are you going to live your life? I'd rather live my life coming from a place where being excited and being encouraging to other people and admiring other people that are having success, that are prospering, that are evolving. Even though I'm a sales performance coach, multi-published author, I still look at other successful people like Grant, and I'm just in awe, and I admire them. And it's a shame when people say negative things about successful people just because they can't attain it. It's hard to have a successful business.
I think a lot of times when people quit, when people quit, they need to play the blame game and they need to assign fault to somebody else and they need to take full attention off of them, not just from other people, but from themselves.
Right.
So if I'm so busy hating on this person over here, it distracts me from recognizing that I'm not even remotely operating at my potential.
Exactly. Yeah. And then that takes a lot of negative energy. I mean, think about all the energy, the mental energy, the spiritual energy of being negative and saying something negative about something. It's just unfulfilling. It's a low vibration. Instead of coming from a higher vibration, a better place, and saying, wow, that person's doing really well. And being encouraging and helping people evolve instead of staying in that low victim, low energy mentality.
Totally. So I always like asking this of folks that are at a high level of success and aspiration. What's your morning routine look like? What do you do? What time do you get up?
I get up every morning between 4:30 a.m. and 5 a.m.
Okay. You're on the Jocko Willink schedule?
I'm not sure what that is.
Check out, have you ever heard of, read a book called Extreme Ownership?
No, but I'll look it up.
Two Navy SEALs. The guy's name is, one of the authors is Jocko Willink. His Instagram, he gets up every day at 4:30. So his Instagram is just his watch every day, 4:30, and then some kind of like little motivational bomb that he drops.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So my routine is every morning in my home, I have a dojo, so to speak, a small little dojo. I'm a Kempo martial artist of 20 years. And so I sit in my dojo by myself and I read a daily meditation from the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius. I do a daily meditation on the saints. And I read one chapter of the Proverbs because the Proverbs are 30 or 31 chapters a day, which coincides with 30 to 31 chapters a month. I'll read that, and then I'll meditate on the mysteries of the rosary. So I do that mental and spiritual kind of rejuvenation, kind of plant the good seeds in my mind before I start the day. And then one or two things, I'll either do some martial arts training or I'll hit the weights.
So, I love that.
Yeah. Before I start the day, then I'm feeling pumped up. I'm ready to go, conquer the world, serve my clients, serve my prospects, and just enjoy and have fun. I think that's the main thing that salespeople forget is going out there and having fun with your job, in your sales job. If you're going to crap yourself out before you even get there, you're not going to be very successful.
Right. No, it's a fantastic routine because you literally have this time where it's just you, right? And your higher power, you guys get together, you start the day together, and then that's with you through the entire day. Right. Yep. And then in addition to that, you get your body right too. So like body, mind, spirit, those are the most important things. And you cover all three of those every single morning. So that's fantastic. If somebody wants to, what social platform are you most active on?
Most active on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So it's Anthony.
How do people find you?
People could find me on Facebook, Anthony Camacho. On Instagram, it's Anthony _ Camacho. On LinkedIn, it's Anthony Camacho. And if they want to get any one of my books that's on sales and sales leadership and on cold calling, go to Amazon and just type in Anthony Camacho in the search engine, and my books will pop up.
And there's a website, I assume?
Yeah, the website is topproducerfactory.com, or they can go to anthonycamacho.com.
Well, hey, listen, dude. I'm so like we've chatted over the years on the phone and just talk shop, and like I'm so glad that we're able to put this like out into the full universe for people to enjoy our conversations too, because I've always enjoyed chatting with you. Thank you. So, is there anything else you want to just throw out there before we bounce?
No, I just like to put out a huge plug for Grant. That dude, still admiring, still loving all the things you're doing. Continue to pave the way for us all. And I like how he's continuously growing and evolving and offering different types of opportunities for people to grow. You know, I mean, as trainers, all we could do is offer you the information. We can't force you to be successful. We can't force you to put the work in, but all we can do is just leave and share what we've learned. And then it's up to you to do the rest.
Amen to that, man. I love that. What a great way to wrap this up. Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you, sir.